I've quickly unmuted and I'm fine, and thank you very
Hi, good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Shalini Sharma, the founder director of the Global Institute for Circular Economy and SDGs. Today, on the 11th of March 2022 at 4:30 p.m., I welcome you on the webinar on the nature-based solution to combat climate change. It's our pleasure to have Dr. Hussain today here with us, who is the sustainability head at Tata Steels, and looking after the biodiversity initiatives with one of the largest conglomerate, that is a Tata Group. And in the session flow today will be that we are going to talk we are just going to take 1 minute about telling you about the Global Institute for Circular Economy and SDGs. Then we will hand over the platform to Dr. Hussain, and then we will have our third speaker of the day, Mr. Bose Varghese from Infosys, who will be joining us a little bit later. So with this, we kickstart the webinar today on the nature-based solution to combat climate change. The subject which we are going to talk about is little spoken about. Not many people, not many industries and organizations they speak about. But as you know, in last few years, we have seen quite a lot people talking about the plantation. So there is also a question that many people ask, that there is a lot of deforestation happening on one side, but there is a lot of plantation drives that are being taken up by the governments on the other side. Is this going to help to combat climate change anyway? So for this purpose, we thought that this webinar will be very important for all the people to learn from the industries about the initiatives that they are taking in their organizations. Also, what is their thought process about the various plant-based combating climate change initiatives, or what is their work on the biodiversity, what actually is happening on the national and international scenario. This initiative is taken by the Global Institute for Circular Economy and SDGs because we are mostly active on the research-based customized solution for the industries. We are the expert on the development of the digital circular economy models, digitizing the supply chains. Thirdly, we are nurturing the startups who are working into the biodiversity, nature-based solution, climate change and circular economy. And fourth, the most important work which we are doing is that we have launched the International Alliance on Circular Economy and SDGs, driving this initiative at the national and international platform, bringing the SAARC countries on one platform to take circular economy into the mission mode, because the circular economy is having a potential to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions by between 40 to 70%, depending on the type of the circular economy mode. So with this, I welcome you all on board online with the Institute for Circular Economy and SDGs for the webinar on the nature-based solution to combat climate change. Today, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Hussain, who is here with us from Tata Steels. He will be talking about the Agenda 2030 and the nature-based solution taken at his industry for combating the climate change. Over to you, Dr. Hussain.
Thank you, Ms. Shalini.
Shall I share the permission to share the screen? I did.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I did.
So thank you, Ms. Shalini. And indeed, it is very important and pertinent to understand that what exactly we are doing to combat the climate change and what is exactly the nature-based solution. To understand the nature-based solution, first you need to understand the size of a problem, which problem is just knocking the doors. And this is something that the world is now talking all over the places, that there is a change is happening. Until the CBD has formed in 1992, very few people have realized there is a loss to the biodiversity. After the IPBES report, now the world is talking that there is a loss to biodiversity. We are losing almost 85% of the wetlands, and these wetlands are the kidney for the Mother Earth. We are losing more than 80,000 square kilometers of forest every year, and these are the lungs for the Mother Earth. Now try to correlate these two examples I have correlated with lungs and the kidney. If these are not functioning, then the Mother Earth health will not be better, and we cannot survive for a long time. You cannot give a blessing to a person who is on a dialysis. You cannot give a person who is on the ventilator that he could be alive for a few years. So these are the two synonyms for us to understand that the problem is so big and how we can combat with the climate change. So just I'm sharing a few slides. Dr. Shalini, how much time I'm having for this session?
You have around 20 minutes.
Okay. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible now. Yeah.
So what is happening around us, it is very important all of us to understand. And fortunately, in this time of media, that we are now knowing what is happening in America, what is happening in Antarctica. Until and unless we have a sensitization, then only we understand what we can do it. The nature-based solution, it is something that from ages we are doing the plantation, but now it is important to understand that this plantation should be scientific, that should be need-based, that should be solution-oriented. The types of the nature-based solution, many times we feel that what is happening around us, it is just the companies are doing this thing. It is not the case. For a survival of the company and for the sustainability, we should do the things which are adding the value to the shareholders' returns and the revenues. And there is a very important thing that how we can leverage the nature power. So I will briefly talk about the nature power. I will also talk about the nature-based economy. It is also very important, just some of the organizations who are providing the solution for the nature-based solutions. So there is a lot of economies around, and what is the solution at the end? I will also pitch in some of the example of the industry, that how industries are working. The Agenda 2030, which is around 17 SDGs. And these SDGs are basically the classical example that how we can make our planet sustainable. So we can have a balance between the environment, between the economy, and between the social aspect. So what is happening around us? Give me a second. So these are the few things. There's the devastated floods in the Europe. I don't think that many of us have read in the newspaper in our lifetime that these floods happen in the Europe. But recently that has happened. Unusual climate events, cyclone Goa in eastern coast of India. So many cyclones, the frequency of cyclones is increasing. The Greenland ice is melting very fast rate, and the fires in Siberia. So now you correlate that this whole event is related with the climate change. And it is the reason that the whole world is talking about how we can do something for reducing the temperature of the Mother Earth less than 1.5 degree. In my other slide, I will explain you why the 1.5 degree is important, why the 2050 is important for all of us. It is not just for the industry, it is important for our survival, for the humanity. So this is a research paper has been published, and this paper has clearly indicated that the human civilization will be crumbled by 2050. And it is a reason that now we can consider that whether the climate change is a threat for us or it is an opportunity for us. And whatever is happening around us, it is extremely faster and faster. The IPCC reports, which has given us indication that the temperature increase is much faster, what we were expecting. What is happening globally, it is much, much faster. That's why there is a need to take some stringent, strong, planned action around that if we want to make the humankind to be survive in future. Some of the headlines, if you open the newspaper, you perhaps find that how the climate change is happening. Climate change is a buzzword. I remember when I was a student in 2000, I was pursuing my master's in forest economics management. That time, no one was talking about the climate change. That time, people were talking differently. They were talking about the joint forest management. Then the scenario has changed, and the IPCC reports has given us the more clarity and more understanding that what we should do. This is again a picture of the forest from 2009 to 2019. We are losing 88,000 square kilometer of forest every year for industrialization, for developing the cities, and this is something very serious we are losing every year. And IPBS report is, as indicated, I was one of the lead author from Asia Pacific for the IPBS, so I can talk about the statistics more confidently. That because of loss of this forest, our food security is also challenging, because 36% of our pollinators, the bee population also reduced. 90% of the flowering is dependent on the pollinators. So now try to understand when the food cycle will be disturbed, when these animals will be disturbed. So definitely our lives will be disturbed. Another very classical example, it is very difficult to explain the people how the locust swarm attack in East Africa is related with the climate change. And it is something that we all have read the case study. Time is limited, otherwise I will explain that how this gregarious growth of these locusts happened because of a long dry season. When there is a long dry season, they got massive food from the fields and they start growing it. And the growth was so much, you perhaps seen that the high alert has been given by the countries. The Pakistan was impacted, India and Yemen in June 2020. Our memories are very, very big. We just forget the things what is happening last year. So we just thought about the future and we forget that the past, which is the key of the future, and how we can plan the things accordingly. We are talking much about the nature-based solution. So it is understanding of the scientists that we have covered a lot of area which was covered by the animals. More than 10,000 years before, about 99% of the Mother Earth was covered by the wild animals. Now what is happening, again, it is a published paper in 2011. And now what is happening, that the 33% is covered by the human being, 66% is covered by the agriculture, and remaining with the wildlife. And it is a reason that the COVID-19 has occurred to us. Now we are expecting more such kind of the pandemics. So you can correlate the climate change, the loss of the biodiversity are directly related with the human actions. So we will have more such kind of events if we are not considering the nature-based solutions. The rate of Himalaya has been doubled in the last 20 years. I did my PhD on Himalaya. I remember the days when I was a student, I used to travel Mussoorie and Dhanolti. This was my area. Now you did not find the Quercus lipotrichophora as growing at lower. So this is again a very good indicator. If the pollution level is increasing, then this plant will not grow because it is associated with the lichens. And lichens are associated with the pollution. If there is a sulfur pollution, the lichens will not grow. Bleaching of the sea waters. The reason I'm talking these problems, then you can evaluate that which solution is useful for you, which solution you can adopt for your industry. So bleaching is happening and these coral reefs are dying very fastly, very rapidly. Another big problem has happened that now the frozen methane, which is now oozing out from the Arctic Ocean, and it is again contributing towards the increase in the temperature of the Mother Earth. Now I'm talking about these two scenarios, the IPCC 6 report you perhaps read, and there are the few scenarios. So important scenario is the 1.5 degree. If we are having the temperature of Mother Earth less than 1.5 degree, then the sea level will be increased 1.5 meter. And if it will increase to 2 degree, then the sea level will be 1.88 feet. So now try to understand the countries who are on the shoreline touching, and more than the 60% of the global population is residing in the seashore area. The reason you clearly know, economy is related, transportation is related for our survival. The coral reefs, if the temperature will increase by 2100 century, the 1.5 degree, then 70% of these coral reefs will be oozed out, and these are very important for our ecosystem. If you remember the great tsunamis, when the tsunamis came, the area which were having the mangrove, these coastal area were less impacted. And that was the foundation or the understanding of the people like me and other people, that how much important are the group for protecting us from such kind of a tsunamis, because these are the nature-based solutions. If you are planting such kind of the hedges, if you are having something which has been given by the nature for us, that can protect some of the great calamities. Again, some example that the Arctic ice, if the temperature will increase at least a century, that will be completely, and if it is 2 degrees centigrade in next 10 years, we will not having any ice. The people life expectancy and our health will also be impacted because of high temperature. And these are the published research. What I am talking about, these are the fundamentally research has been done. 1 billion people health will be impacted if the 1.5 degree temperature increase. And if it is 2 degrees centigrade in the next 5 years, so 2.7 billion population out of 7.2 billion people of Mother Earth. So this nature-based solution, as Dr. Shalini indicated, so it is not just the planting of the tree. So people who are thinking just planting of tree is a nature-based solution, no, it is not the case. So it involves basically restoration. It basically involves that how we can convert these wetlands, peatland, and the coastal habitat into something which has given the benefit in the form of reducing the temperature, and it is also in the form of creating the livelihood. And these solutions are demonstrated that they must qualify as a nature-based solution if there is a social benefit also. You perhaps remember that the COP21 was one of a very successful event in the history of environment conservation. There was the pledges has been taken, and 37% of the Paris Agreement targets could be achieved with the help of nature-based solutions. And what is happening, the current level of the climate finance, it is another opportunity to get the money and to estimate that how we can have a benefit. More than $4.6 billion is the climate finance. So the companies are ready to invest on it. And the problem is that only 2% of this finance is dedicated to the natural climate solution. So now you can understand that there is so much big opportunities lying there, and only 2% of the finance is dedicated for the nature-based solution. Now I briefly explain you, these are the 3 types of the nature-based solution. If you see this graph clearly indicating that if you take the type 1 initiative, these are the minimal intervention in the ecosystem. The type 2 is some intervention which are having the ecosystem and the landscapes. And the third type of the nature-based intervention, managing the ecosystem in extensive way. So I just using this highlighter to explain you this graph. Just give me a second. Yeah. No. So you can see that the number of stakeholders, so if we are using the type 3, then the number of stakeholders will be maximum, and that will having the maximization of the delivery of the services. So as the type 3 is if we want to manage the ecosystem, so I am giving you one example from our location at Jamshedpur, where we were having a water body which converted into a dirty pond, and we have converted into a beautiful pond, which is now helping in regenerating or collecting the rainwater. It is helping in creating the biodiversity. It is attracting the birds, and as well as it has created the livelihood to the people who were around the water body. So such kind of initiative are the type 3. The green city, it is another type 2, the nature-based solution, that how we can make the sustainability and the multifunctionality in managing the our area or the area where we are living. So you read one example from the Paris. Now they are converting the whole Paris city into the space where the people did not require the transportation. There must be everything could be within 10 minutes of walk. So if you want to send the kids to the school, if you want to go to the office, hospital, everything is a 10-minute walk. So it is a type 2 solution. In that, again, there are the stakeholders and there is a change, and there are the engineering designs are available. And type 1, just a marine ecosystem we want to protect. We want to protect the jungle, and these are the so minimal stakeholders and the minimal change in the ecosystem services. some of the leverages of this nature power, so you can read these numbers. So we are having more than $4.1 trillion finance gap between the climate change and the biodiversity conservation and the land degradation. So this gap is estimated for the 2050. And if we want to, so again, the current investment are about 133 billion US dollars. And this is again coming from the public sources. And there is a lot of opportunities are available for the private sectors. So the state finance, which has again calculated that whatever we are having triple by 2030, that will be fourfold by the 2050. So now try to understand that what is happening today, 1.33 billion we are having, and if we multiply it by 3, and again it will multiply by 4. So this is the amount of the opportunities or the funding could be generated and could help in reducing the climate impact. And all these things are very important for the people to understand that how we can do it and what is the role of all this nature-based economy and the nature-based solution. These are the vehicles for the transformation of the cities, preserving the natural capital, and whatever is happening around us, it could be sustainable. This is a vehicle for blending the public-private investment, so the countries can participate in it, the companies can participate in it, and it will be a social cohesion, it will be a citizen well-being, and it will be something that for which net zero carbon or net neutrality we are talking so much, and it will definitely help in achieving it and enabling the environment of the innovation, which will again provide the economically sustainably, potentially more resilient society to combat the climate change. The solutions are in our hand. How we can involve the private sector, it is such kind of the program which definitely help. And again, building the awareness among the masses is very important. And nature-based enterprises are again now coming up. There are significant amount of shortage of such kind of the enterprises. Those who understand the business need, those who understand the nature-based solutions, and mixing all these things to a plan where there is a solution. And these enterprises, again, directly harnessing, they can help in restoring the nature, they can help in restoring the Mother Earth in a sustainable way. These are my contact details. If there is any question, I will be happy to address you. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hussain. Thank you so much for providing these details. I think people really need to think like what they can do near themselves, like their homes, like rainwater harvesting or plantation. There's a lot of talk about Miyawaki forest also that can be developed even in the cities or urban areas. So thank you, Dr. Hussain. I think we don't have.
So yes, if the time will permit, then I will talk about the initiatives which we have done.
Kindly take the time. Yeah. So kindly explain the initiatives done at Tata Steels, and then I will take you to the next speaker. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have converted a waste dump. So that was basically the slug which has been produced from the steel industry into a beautiful natural eco restorer park. So you perhaps seen this in Google Earth, as well as you can search about the JMD park. So that has been converted. So it was causing the pollution, it was causing the bad aesthetic of the city, but it has converted into 1.64 acres of land into a beautiful hillock of providing the ecosystem services and habitat for the birds. Similarly, we have converted a very big mining area into a beautiful park. Again, that reclaimed mine is having a forest now, Hill 1 and Hill 2 in our one of the operations. And again, it is providing the carbon sink. People are talking about the carbon offsets, and these are some very good example of a carbon offset. We are having all across our location the rainwater harvesting system in place. So we are collecting all the rainwater which is coming in and around our locations, and that is again helping in recharging the water bodies. We have converted as I told about the wetlands, so we have converted the wetlands into the beautiful eco restore park. we have done the Miyawaki plantation all across the locations because it is something self-sustaining plantation. And that plantation basically help in making a place which is having a less land. So Miyawaki is coming from Japan, the name of the scientist. And you perhaps know Japan is having a scarcity of the land. And in this scarce land, how you can convert it into a forest. And this is a very good example of sustainable solution in terms of we do not have the land and how we can implement it. So these are a couple of examples where we have implemented across our locations.
Thank you, Dr. Sen. I think when you were sharing your presentation, there was a discussion about the lichen, the word which you use. Not many people know about that, but I will share my research a bit on that. I'm a doctorate in environment management and policy from Lucknow University. And I worked in National Botanical Research Institute for quite a long time. And in National Botanical Research Institute, we were completely working on phytoremediation. We used to work on plant-based solutions. And my research, when we talk about the lower group of plants, my research is basically on absorption of hard metals and materials by using the bryophytes as an absorbent, you know. And what I innovated, what was my research was that for the first time in the world, I got a plant that was having a capability to absorb around 2000 ppm of lead in one square centimeter of patch. So that was the outcome of my PhD when I was working. And after that, I worked quite a lot on climate change, capacity building and training for the working professionals, industries and organizations. So if you see like 7-8 years back or 10 years back, this kind of research was not having that kind of a weightage that it is really getting today. Because the people a decade back were more dependent on chemical based solutions, even whether it is a water treatment in the industries or anywhere. But now people are looking for phytoremediation or phytoabsorbent or these kind of pollution absorbent as such. So I think that is a kind of a difference that we have seen in a decade's time. People are shifting towards the nature based solution. So thank you, Dr. Sen, taking out your time. I'm just going to present in 5 minutes the nature-based solution booklet that we have prepared from our institute, the Global Institute for Circular Economy and SDGs. So it is just, the aim is to create the awareness among people. So this is the first booklet that we have prepared. You can see it into the publications section on our website, ce-sdg.org. If you go to publications, you will get one publication on creating awareness on circular economy. There are another manuals also on implementation of circular economy, one into the educational institutions and another is on implementation of circular economy in small and medium scale industries. That can also help even the OEMs and supply chains for the large industries to green their supply chains. So that is really a big manual where industries, if they are looking to implement the circular economy in their organization, so that manual is applicable. So you will not find full manual on the website because it is a document that is more for the consultancy or industries we associated with. But this awareness booklet and other things you will get openly on the publications webpage. So here we have tried to explain you what nature-based solutions are and what are the challenges if you try to implement these kind of solutions, and what are the approaches that one can really follow, or if you are an initiator into this space, you can learn about different kind of approaches, what the nature-based solution look like. Then we have given some case studies from international different countries. One is from Indonesia, then from China, there is from India too, but mostly talking about the marshy ecosystem or ocean ecosystem they've been talking about. And the aim is just to provide you a snapshot, a kind of a brief that what exactly the nature-based solution is and where it can lead you. So it is good for the researchers and the people who are looking for initiating working on this. And of course, the live examples that are provided to you by Dr. Hussain are something that are very, very valuable, that you can just take it with you today and think about your organization where you can really implement and change the ecosystem around you. So with this, my team is just trying to see whether we have our third speaker here today or if there is any message from him. Dr. Bose Varghese, are you here with us? So I think we are having a message from our team. He has informed that he will be sending his presentation. He will record the presentation and he will send it. So what we will do is that his session is scheduled today. So we will take his recording and then we will club it up with today's recording and put it on our YouTube channel, which you can access today's talk even at the later stage anytime. We will also promote this talk with our Sustain YouTube channel to the public at large. So with this, I think I stop the recording here for the webinar, and uh, I will provide a platform open for the participants to take their questions, share their questions if any.